It's 25 to 6, Jazz Radio 94.1 FM. Time now to talk movies, and Gale Edwards from Sydney has directed some great stage musicals, including The Boy from Oz, Sweeney Todd, and some other great shows. And she's made the transition to film in directing a brand new movie, A Heartbeat Away. It's described as a feel-good musical. Gale's on the line, and Gale, thanks very much for joining us today.
Hi, John.
Now, tell us about this movie, A Heartbeat Away.
Well, it's one of those movies you can take your 10-year-old to, or you can take your grandmother to, and they'll all love it. It's a story about a small country town in Queensland, a mythical town called Montague, and a boy who's a rock guitarist. His father runs a brass band, but through various occurrences, he ends up having to take over the band, and he thinks they're geriatrics, and they think he's a bit of an idiot. And gradually they come to respect each other and, in fact, love each other. And he has, of course, a girlfriend that he meets along the journey, and he discovers love and music, which has divided the family, now unites the family. So it's got a very positive message.
And the film was actually made up around Brisbane. And did you film on the Gold Coast at all?
No, we didn't film on the Gold Coast, but we did film in Brisbane, the whole thing actually, around Shorncliffe. So it's very much a Brisbane or a Queensland movie.
Well, it's actually beautifully photographed. Some wonderful scenes in it. In fact, it has the look of a big budget movie.
Yeah, it does. We deliberately pushed the sort of the colour and the look of the movie. I always wanted it to feel heightened in its visual style, and because it has a fantasy element, I call it magical realism. And Bob Humphries, was the cinematographer, and he's brilliant. And so it has a very beautiful, rich look, and we deliberately went for that.
Well, Gale, this is your first film. Now, was it difficult making the transition from stage to film?
No, it was absolutely easy. I loved making the movie. I have shot things before, but not feature films. I shot Jesus Christ Superstar years ago and won an international Emmy for it. So it wasn't my first time pointing a camera. But I love the genre, of course. I grew up as a child watching movies every night because my grandmother, who brought me up, actually worked at Hoyt Cinemas. And in those days we didn't have babysitters, so I sat in the cinema every single night of my teenage life watching movies. It's so strange that it's taken, 30 years for me to get back to the cinema. But I love working with actors, and it's a very actor-oriented film. If you've seen it, you'll know it's got some terrific performances in it. And, I didn't find any obstacle to working with the actors, and I adored the technology of storytelling through cinema.
You've actually blended some fine young actors with quite a few seasoned players like Colin Friels turning up as the mayor.
Yeah, Colin Friels, I think, it actually gives a wonderful performance of the mayor, who is the villain of the piece. William Zappa, who's a great stage actor. Tammy McIntosh, who people will know from television. Terry Walker, who's, one of the grand dames of the Australian theatre and film. They're all fabulous character actors. I think Neil Melville, who plays Tommy, is brilliant. Terry Camilleri. But there's also the younger generation, and Sebastian Gregory, who plays the lead, is a real discovery. He was only 19 when he made the movie. And, of course, heartthrob or teen heartthrob, Isabel Lucas plays the girlfriend, and, the camera loves her face, and she looks like a goddess, kind of girl that a teenage boy would fall for the first time in his life, and his life would be changed forever. So there is a young generation and an older generation, and it's about finding understanding between the generations. And the movie celebrates some of those old-fashioned qualities like family, loyalty, friendship, love, and fighting for what you believe in and pursuing your dreams. And that's kind of what the movie's about.
Well, I guess marketing is going to be a very big part of the success of this film. How do you get local and international distribution into all the cinemas around Australia and then getting it into the international market?
Well, it's interesting. I'm new to this film business, and I'm told that most Australian movies run between 3 and 5 weeks, which I have to tell you is heartbreaking, because you spend 3 years of your life making a movie like this. I despair about the fact that I think we've lost interest in Australian movies over the last 15 years. I don't think there's the groundswell in the public for Australian movies, and of course the publicity budgets are so much less than the big American blockbusters that come here, so we can't really compete. And I worry that, getting the word out. I mean, often with Australian films, people say, oh, yeah, I heard that was really good, but by the time I went to go to the movies to see it, it had been taken off. So I want to let everyone know that, they should try and get to see this movie in the next 3 weeks.
Well, hopefully it'll have a longer run than that, but I think it's great fun, blend of youth and experience with the brass band, and a wonderful final scene too. That must have taken quite a bit of planning.
Yeah, it did it's a spectacular ending, of course, when all of the elements come together, and the magic of the film comes together as well. I won't give the plot away, but if you've seen it, you know that there is magic. It's sort of, the whole film is like a fable or a modern fairy story, I suppose. It's certainly magical realism. It's not gritty naturalism, and you are invited to go on the journey. And it does invite the child within every one of us to enjoy the story. But what's been interesting is that people love the comedy and they laugh a lot, but we also find people wiping a little tear away. So many people say, well, the movie creeps up on you and you find yourself caring, and it kind of weaves a spell and draws you in, and I think that's a great compliment.
Absolutely, and that's certainly true. It does get you in towards the end, particularly with that wonderful climax. Well, Gale, we wish you every success with A Heartbeat Away, and it's opening in cinemas up here very soon. So
it actually opens tomorrow, so I'm hoping everyone will get excited about an Australian movie that's not about drug taking and it's not wrist slashing.
Fantastic. Well, Gale, thanks again, and we'll talk to you again when you make your next film, no doubt, which won't be too far away, hopefully.
Great pleasure. Thank you, John.
Thanks a lot, Gale. It's Gale Edwards, the filmmaker and director of A Heartbeat Away. It's 18 to 5.